ISKCON. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 4, The Atrocities of King Kamsa, text number 3. Please repeat. Saha talpat turnam utthaya satalpat turnam utthaya khalaha ayam iti vihvalaha kaloyam iti vihvalaha suti griham agat turnam suti griham agat turnam praschalan mukta murdajaha praschalan mukta murdajaha satalpa turnamutthaya kaloyam iti vihvalaha suti griham agat turnam praschalan mukta murdajaha. Satalpa turnamutthaya kaloyam iti vihvalaha suti griham agat turnam praschalan mukta murdajaha. Please repeat the word to word meaning. Saha, he, King Kamsa, talpat, from the bed, turnam, very quickly, uthaya, getting up, kala ayam, here is my death, the supreme time, iti, in this way, vihvalaha, overwhelmed, suti griham, to the maternity home, agat, went, turnam, without delay, praskhalan, scattering, mukta, had become opened, murda jaha, the hair on the head. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhacharana Arvinda, Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Kamsa immediately got up from bed, thinking, here is Kala, the supreme time factor, which has taken birth to kill me. Thus, overwhelmed, Kamsa, his hair scattered on his head, at once approached the place where the child had been born. Can you repeat the translation? Kamsa immediately got up from bed, thinking, here is Kala, the supreme time factor, which has taken birth to kill me. Thus, overwhelmed, Kamsa, his hair scattered on his head, at once approached the place where the child had been born. The word Kalaha is significant. Although the child was born to kill Kamsa, Kamsa thought that this was the proper time to kill the child so that he himself would be saved. Kala is actually another name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead when he appears only for the purpose of killing. When Arjuna inquired from Krishna in his universal form, who are you? The Lord presented himself as Kala, death personified, to kill. By nature's law, when there is an unwanted increase in population, Kala appears. And by some arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, people are killed wholesale in different ways by war, pestilence, famine, and so on. At that time, even atheistic political leaders go to a church, mosque, or temple for protection by God or gods and submissively say, God willing. Before that, they pay no attention to God, not caring to know God or His will. But when Kala appears, they say, God willing. Death is but another feature of the Supreme Kala, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the time of death, the atheist must submit to this Supreme Kala, and then the Supreme Personality of Godhead takes away all his possessions, Mrityu Sarva Haraschaham, and forces him to accept another body, Tata Dehantara Praptihi. This the atheists do not know, and if they do know, they neglect it so that they may go on with their normal life. The Krishna consciousness movement is trying to teach them that although for a few years one may act as a great protector or great watchman, with the appearance of Kala, death, one must take another body by the laws of nature. Not knowing this, they unnecessarily waste their time in their occupation as watchdogs and do not try to get the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As it is clearly said, Aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsara vartmani. Without Krishna consciousness, one is condemned to continue wandering in birth and death, not knowing what will happen in one's next birth. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport and translation to Canto 10, Chapter 4, text number 3 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Ajnanathimirantasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Balaram Gonitai ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai. So here we see when the doorman in Kamsa's prison house came with the news that a child is born of Devaki, immediately Kamsa got alerted and wanted to take action upon the birth of the eighth child of Devaki, because the prophecy said that the eighth child of Devaki is going to kill Kamsa. So what did Kamsa do? That's described here. Satalpat Turnam Uthaya. Turna means he acted very fastly, very quickly. Satalpat comes up, got up from his bed. He was lying on his bed, but he was not sleeping. That was said in the last verse. Hmm? Kamsa was awake and waiting for the news of the birth of Devaki's child. So he was not sleeping. All day was lying on the bed. He was not getting sleep. Whether he is sleeping or he is on his bed or he was eating his food or he was looking at the mirror, getting up, getting ready himself. Everywhere he was seeing Krishna. All the time. He was obsessed with the thought of Krishna, but in an unfavorable way. Hmm. Thought of Krishna is what is the goal of devotional service, but Kamsa was absorbed unfavorably. So there is Anukula and there is Pratikula. There is favorable devotional service and unfavorable devotional service. Kamsa was engaged in devotional service unfavorably. So that is not desirable. That is not the lesson here. You may, like Kamsa is thinking of Krishna, how to kill Krishna. But with that idea, he was day and night absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Kamsa, Turnam Uthaya, got up from his bed. Immediately he got up from his bed and he understood. Kala ayam. Oh, here is Kala, my death, who has taken birth to kill me. Prashkalan mukta murdajaha iti vihvalaha. Being overwhelmed with the idea, with the fact that Kala has taken birth, Krishna as Kala has taken birth to kill him. Iti vihvalaha, being thus overwhelmed, praskhalan muktam murdajaha, his hair loosened, scattered on his head. Mukta means freed from, that means not combed nicely. Murdha jaha, that means the hair on the head. So praskalan, it was scattered here and there. So praskalan mukta murdha jaha. So Kamsa being overwhelmed, his hair scattered on his head. Suti griham agat turnam. Again the word turnam is used. Got up from his bed in a very restless manner. And agat turnam, he approached Suti griham, the place of the birth of the child, very quickly, as fast as possible. Agat, he approached to see where this child is, the place where the child was born. Why? When a child is born, we are also very eager to go and see. Sometimes we get invitation from many people. Prabhuji, one child is born for us, so please come. So when you get invite from a relative saying that so and so child is born, son is born, daughter is born, it's an occasion for celebration, joy. So you go and greet the child in a very joyous manner. Not that you are in great anxiety or discomfort, but here Kamsa, when he got to know that his own sister's child is born, he is not feeling joy. He is feeling great anxiety. He is overwhelmed and he is intent on killing the child for which he is coming to see the child. See this demonic mentality. Child is born and he is going not to greet the child but to kill the child. How merciless one can be. This is demoniac nature. No consideration, no feelings, no logic, no objectivity, no kindness, no compassion. You can see all of that. Consolidated qualities of demoniac nature we can see in this personality of Kamsa. The 16th chapter, Krishna talks about that in detail. Divine and demonic nature. They're very harsh, they're heartless. And Krishna, who is the supreme protector, everywhere Krishna promises, he is the supreme protector. You can fully rely and take shelter of Krishna. Undoubtedly. Most trustworthy. That's why Krishna has used the word Suhrudam in Bhagavad Gita. Best well-wishing friend. One whom you can rely, trust. Because today in our life, the most wanting thing, bottom line in our life is, whom can I trust? Whom can I rely upon? A capable person. One thing is who will not let me down, who will not cheat me. That is one aspect. Second aspect is, even if I depend on somebody, is he capable to protect me, to maintain me, to take care of me, to provide for me? So, no conditioned soul is capable to do this work in a perfect manner. absolute manner. Only Krishna is the ultimate shelter, ultimate protector, ultimate maintainer, the most capable. Hmm. So Krishna is the ultimate shelter. The Bhagavad Gita, Krishna openly invites, please come and take my shelter. I'll give you complete protection from all danger. But here Kamsa, instead of taking shelter of Krishna, who is a source of protection, he is thinking Krishna is the cause of my danger. How foolish Kamsa is. How foolishly Kamsa has come to this conclusion. Parallelly, you see in Vrindavana, every day one demon will come to disturb the devotees in Vrindavan and also to kill Krishna. But every day actually comes as receiving a return news. When a demon is being sent, the demon is killed and Krishna is protected. And Krishna is able to protect all his devotees. Yet Kamsa has not developed the confidence that Krishna will actually give protection. He's thinking Krishna is the cause of death. Better let me kill him before he kills me. That's what Prabhupada begins the purport. The word Kalaha is significant. Although the child Krishna was born to kill Kamsa, Kamsa thought that this was the proper time to kill the child so that he himself would be saved. He is thinking Krishna is the cause of his death. Let me therefore kill Krishna. Actually, Krishna is not the cause of death. He is the cause of life, existence, not death. Kamsa was foolishly thinking like that. So, of course, sometimes the Lord does the so-called killing just to stop the furtherance of the sinful deeds of a particular jiva. Otherwise, if the Lord doesn't kill, this sinful jiva, demonic person, will increase and further his demonic activities. And thereby, it becomes even more dangerous for himself. Just like sometimes the police authorities take action on a criminal and put him in jail, arrest him. So that person may become very upset and angry. But actually it is good for him, because if he is not imprisoned and his activities are arrested, he will do further wrong deeds and that will further worsen his situation. The punishment will become even more serious and severe for him. At least he is arrested and his activities are regulated and controlled in the prison house. Because he does not know how to use freedom properly, and if he is allowed further freedom and a free life, he'll do something dangerous for himself and for others. Therefore, imprisoning is actually the right, safe thing for this criminal or the wrongdoer. It is good for him. Similarly, when the Lord kills an asura, it is good for him. Otherwise, he will do something more dangerous for him. Sometimes you see this mad people, madmen, people who are mentally not stable. Why in the mental hospital they tie up their hands and legs? Why does the doctor do that? And then this mentally unstable person becomes even more angry. First of all, he is put in mental hospital, which itself he cannot accept that fact. Why am I put in mental hospital? Why am I not allowed to move with people who are normal? He is angry. Secondly, you tied him up in the mental hospital, becomes even more angry. You know why he is tied up? Actually for his protection. Because suppose if he gets a knife, this mentally unstable person, he will harm himself also. He will harm others also. Suppose the doctor comes to treat him, he will even attack the doctor. Forget attacking doctor, he will even pierce himself also, because he is mad, mentally not stable. So therefore his hands and legs are tied up in the mental hospital for his safety. But he becomes angry. Similarly, these demonic persons, when by the laws of nature they're regulated, or even in the form of Kala, when the Lord takes the form of Kala to kill him, he becomes even more angry. But actually that is good for him. Otherwise, if he continues his sinful activities, then he will suffer more. Just like in the Bhagavatam, 6th canto, Shukdev Goswami describes to Parikshit Maharaj, depending upon the kind of sinful activities, there is a prescription of what is called as prayaschitta. So the prayaschitta will differ from person to person based on the intensity of the karma he has performed. If the karma is very light, then the prayaschitta is also very light atonement. If the karma is very serious, prayaschitta also is very severe. So Shukadeva Goswami says, just like a disease, suppose if it is not very serious, doctor will prescribe some simple tablet, some 2 days, some simple dosage. With tablets, it will get all right. But if the disease is very acute, very serious, in an advanced stage, the doctor may prescribe serious medication, treatment, probably sometimes even operation. But not that for every single patient he'll say, okay, get operated. Suppose you go for a common cold. Doctor, I have some cold. Okay, let's operate your nose. He's not going to tell that, right? But if you got sinusitis, seriously, then the doctor may do operation on the nose. But not for some simple cold because of climate change. 2 3 days you will become all right. For that, he'll not suggest operation. So based on the papa karma, the prayaschitta also varies. And for a murderer, the prayaschitta is, Shukadeva Goswami continues, for a murderer, the prayaschitta is, you should hang him immediately. Otherwise, the punishment quantum will increase if you don't hang him. The suffering for that act of murder, whoever has done that murder, he has to suffer multiple times, much more severely. Same thing, Shukadeva Goswami continues that whatever papa karma is done within at least that particular life of the jiva, that particular life, because jiva has many, many lives, one after the other, till he gets liberation. So that particular life, whenever he did the karma in the human life, because karma can be performed only in human life. Animals don't have choice. Therefore, there is no question of karma for animals. There's no free will for animals, birds, beasts, other than human beings. There's no free will. Therefore, there's no karma for them. Therefore, there's nothing papa and prayaschitta for those who are not human beings. So this papa and prayaschitta, papa, punya, prayaschitta, all these things is applicable only to human beings. So in the human life, when somebody is committed one karma, Shukadeva Goswami says, at least before the immediate death, next death, he has to perform the prayaschitta. Sooner or later, within that lifetime. Otherwise, suppose if he postpones it and if he dies, the next life he has to suffer more. Like that. So, here, we see Kamsa, even for simple acts, because one is held responsible for every act he does through kaya, vacha, manasa, through body, mind and words. Every act he performs, he is responsible as a human being and he has to account for that. So, as Shukadeva Goswami says, that a murderer is hanged for his good. Similarly, these atheistic people, demonic people, the Lord personally comes as a mercy in the form of Kala Rupa to kill them. It is good for them. Otherwise, they will suffer more. So coming back to the idea, so Kaya, Vacha, Manasa. So one acts in 3 levels. Through physical body, by physical movement, physical action. Then through words and through mind. So one is responsible. Sometimes people may think, oh, I didn't act. I only thought, he does not know about it. But actually there is a reaction for that also. So in the first canto, 19th chapter, there is one nice thing which is explained. In Kali Yuga, people are little fortunate because the karma which one does in the mental level is not counted. It's a special concession for people in Kali Yuga. Only if you act grossly, you get a reaction. So mentally what you think, you're not processed it to the point of action, so you don't get karma. So that concession is there in Kali Yuga. In earlier yugas, even what we think, punya, suppose you think of doing charity, you're not actually done. You want to do some charity, you want to do some good work. The thought itself will fetch you the result of that punya. It's a very good thing. In the earlier yugas, it was like that. Similarly, the converse is true. Suppose you want to murder somebody. The very thought itself, you get the reaction of that. Even though you're not actually killed him. You have to commit some illicit act. In the thought only. You're not physically acted, but you get the karma for that. So that much serious it was in other yugas. But in Kali Yuga, we are safe. But we have to be careful because one may think, okay, Prabhu, only mentally I thought of, illicit sex or, sinful activities or whatever. But the risk is, okay, you are saved because grossly, so long you don't indulge, you are safe. That is there. You don't get karma. But the risk is, Krishna describes in the 18th chapter the signs of action. How does an action take place? First, it is conceived as an idea in the subtle platform. Then you process that. It is there in the 18th chapter, actually. Very nice. Nicely, Krishna discusses that. So, first, there is desire. There is idea to enjoy. And that idea is conceptualized in the mind. You start framing the process. Okay, how to enjoy. We all go through this actually. Psychological actions, we all go through. First of all, you desire something. You hit up an idea. You desire something to enjoy. And then you start conceptualizing how I'm going to enjoy. So like that eventually translates into physical action. So the idea, which was only in the idea form, eventually takes the shape of an action through physical senses for gross enjoyment. But before gross enjoyment, you would have enjoyed it subtly. But that psychological process of thinking, feeling, and willing, first in thinking level, then it goes to feeling level, then it comes to willing. That's a physical action. So it will translate to very soon physical action. So therefore, we say even in the mind level, we should be careful about our thoughts so that it doesn't translate to action. That is the risk. Otherwise, until you act grossly in Kali Yuga, there is no reaction. So imagine, for every single act, one is counted. Shockingly, here we see Kamsa is trying to kill Krishna only. The very thought of sin itself is risky and dangerous. And here we see Kamsa is thinking of the greatest sin of killing Krishna. See how foolishly he is fearless. Foolishly he is fearless. He is calling upon his own death. See how foolish Kamsa is. Okay, he got to know Krishna is going to kill him. Instead of escaping or running away, he is going to meet his death. Lord of death. Vinasha kale viparita buddhi. He knows Krishna is the killer and he is going to Krishna and going to see him. Instead of leaving Mathura and going away somewhere. So, we can see this atheists and demonic persons' nature today also in people. Just like there is a tiger's den or lion's den, tiger's cave or lion's den. When you get to know, you should just run away from that place. Not that you go inside, not that you put your head inside the lion's den in between the grills and expect lion will be sitting quiet. Immediately jump up on your head and then cut off your head and then bite your head and then eat off. Isn't it? So, foolish people try to fight with death or God. They're very foolish. Just like when you try to play with fire, this example is given. You try to play with fire, what will happen? Immediate death. At least you touch the fire, you will be burnt. And then you jump into the fire, finished. See, Kamsa got into the, later on we see that into the wrestling arena, Kamsa jumped into the wrestling arena. And Krishna also jumped. But for Kamsa, it was death. Such a foolish person. Just like if you jump into fire, what is going to happen? If you're Agni Dev, it is your home. But if you're not Agni, a resident of Agni Deva, Agni Deva's planet, then you are burnt, isn't it? So if you're Bhakta, then death is entering Vaikuntham. But if you're not a Bhakta, you fighting with Kala is fighting with your death. Therefore, sometimes we see the atheists or the demonic persons, they sometimes disturb the young devotees, saying that you're also dying after all, you're also getting sick, you're also troubled in this world, you also face a lot of problems. We're also facing problem, you're also facing problem. Anything less for you, Prabhuji? So many problems you have in the temple. Electricity problem is there, plumbing problem is there, this problem, permission problem is there. We also have a problem. They also have a problem. What is the difference? You are going to die. We are going to die. Everything is same. It is not the same. Therefore, Acharyas gives this example. The death for a devotee is different from the death for a non-devotee or a demonic person. It's very different. Death for a non-devotee is Kala. Death for a devotee is Krishna. We should know that. The Kala Rupa is very fearful, fearsome. Very fearsome for a non-devotee. But for a devotee, it's not at all fearful. He welcomes death. A devotee welcomes death. Because he knows, okay, my time has come to go to Krishna. But for a non-devotee, his time has come to know, not knowing where he is going to go. Not knowing where he is going to go. He has no clue what is his next life going to be like. So, therefore, the Shastras give the example, just like a cat carrying kitten and a cat carrying a rat between its teeth. When a cat is carrying its kitten, because the way the cat holds its kitten is actually it will hold it in between its teeth, and then the cat will, mother cat will run and go. The kitten is very comfortable, thinking, oh, my mother is taking me. But when the same cat is holding a rat in between its teeth, the rat is seeing the jaws of death. Any second, I may get crushed. Finished. This foolish person comes, he's voluntarily going and putting his head into Krishna's hands. Just like you giving your head into the lion's den. What will the lion do? It will keep quiet. So, Kala is not going to keep quiet. So, Prabhupada says, interestingly, the purport, Kala is another name of Krishna, another incarnation of Krishna. It is the form of Krishna, just like we have different forms of Krishna avatars, right? We have Hayagriva, Madhusudana, so many avatars of Vishnu. We have Rama, Nrsimha, Varaha, Vamana, like that. Similarly, Kala is another incarnation of Krishna, form of Krishna, to kill the demoniac persons. And it is very scary. And there is no discussion and mercy. When Kala appears, finished. Only death is the possibility. There is no other possibility. Therefore, these atheistic people, non-devotees, they're very afraid of death. Kala. They deny God, but they cannot deny God. They have to see God as death. That's why Prabhupada says, Krishna's fearsome form is Kala. Krishna's Saumya Rupa is Shyamasundara. God's pleasing form is what we see in the temples. Vamana temple, Krishna temple. So many nice temples are there. Vishnu temples are there. Rama's temple, even Nrsimha temple. Very pleasing to see. But if you fail to appreciate this pleasing form of the Lord, you have to see God in his fearful and fearsome form as Kala or death. And you cannot avoid it. Mm. So, the atheists may argue that we're also dying, but actually, there's one very nice statement in the Bhagavatam. What is death for a devotee? In the first canto, it is described very nicely. This is about Narada Muni. Narada Muni, when he left his body, how did he leave his body, and what was that experience like for Narada Muni when he quit his body? When he, okay, you can say in ordinary language, when he died. So we don't say Narada died, we say he quit his body. Anyway, in common parlance, we can say when Narada Muni died, what happened? So this is a statement by Narada Muni himself to Vyasadeva. When Narada Muni is describing his three lives, how he became Narada, he is describing to his disciple Vyasadeva. He is saying, so, O Brahmana, Vyasa, in due course of time, I, who was fully absorbed in thinking of Krishna and who therefore had no attachments, being completely freed from all material taints, met with death as lightning and illumination occur simultaneously. Huh? Tadit Saudamani Yatha. Just like when there is lightning in the sky, is there any lightning without illumination? No possibility. Lightning means illumination, right? So just when as lightning occurs with illumination simultaneously, for a devotee, death means simultaneous to giving up this body. Simultaneous to giving this body, we revive our spiritual body. What a beautiful example. This is death for a devotee. Hmm. So actually devotees don't die. So this is also confirmed by Sutta Goswami in the second canto. Ayur harati vaipumsan udyan astam sayan asau. So in these two lines, Sukadeva Goswami, Sutta Goswami has told what is the action of Kala or the rising and setting of the sun for a devotee and for a non-devotee. By every rising and setting of the sun, as Kala moves, is because Kala is moving, there is rising and setting of the sun. If there is no movement of Kala, there is no movement of the sun. Actually, Kala moves everything. If Kala stops, every function in this cosmic creation stops. Kala is the mover of everything. That Kala is the moving agent of Krishna, servant of Krishna, following the dictations of the Lord. So Kala is moving things. Therefore, all the planetary movements, universal movements, functionings, everything is happening by the dictation of Kala. So, by every rising and setting of the sun is stealing away the life of an individual, except for one who's engaged in Hari Bhajana, Hari Kirtana. This is what Sutta Muni says there. So, sunrise and sunset does not steal the life of a devotee. Yet we are growing old. For us also days are passing. Yes, but we are nearing Vaikuntha. We are nearing Vaikuntha. Therefore, for devotees, it is great joy. As we become old, as we get to know, I'm going to die very soon, or I'm terminally ill. Sometimes we hear that news, sadly. But actually, there's nothing to feel sad about. Okay, very soon I'm going to get rid of this body and approaching my Lord, going back to my original home. So for the devotee, it is great pleasure, no regrets. For non-devotee, is very different. He does not know his destination for his deeds. So here, instead of taking shelter of Krishna, the source of protection, everywhere the entire Gita, Krishna is telling to escape the cycle of birth and death, become my devotee. Everywhere Krishna is telling all through the Gita. And here this person comes and is thinking Krishna is the cause of my death. Well, Krishna is the cause of saving us from birth and death cycle. But he's thinking he is my death, I have to kill him. So very unfortunate. So we will see what happens. So Kamsa come to the Suti Griham and to see the child who was taken birth from Devaki. So what happens, we will see later. So the conclusion is we should not serve Krishna unfavorably like Kamsa. Thinking of Krishna in a negative way, unfavorable way, but we should think of Krishna in a positive way, and we should take shelter of Krishna and escape the cycle of birth and death, escape the effects of Kala in a negative way. Rather, that same Kala will be the door opening for us to enter Vaikuntha or Krishna Loka. Hare Krishna. Granthrat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai.